the culture in which they grew up was not the culture in which black kids grew up in America today.
So they
There's
had
no gangster rap that was pervasively available in Germany.
It's not being black. It's a way of life. Unfortunately, the way of life is being celebrated not only in rap music, but among the intelligentsia. It's a way of life that leads to a lot of big problems for most people.
The average of black kid today, I think, is probably better off, certainly materially, than, say, Ben Carson was when he was growing up.
Ben Carson, the famous
Black
surgeon
neuroscientist.
at Johns Hopkins.
Right, right.
Who is immensely accomplished in every way.
Yes.
Right.
I would say that certainly the black kids who are growing up today have a higher material standard of living than I had. The difference was that the schools were good when I came along. They were especially good in New York at that time, hard as that is to believe.
Facts.
But
That's major facts. And when I have this debate with most people, I tell them to look at themselves from the lens of the whole world. See, most people, especially in America, they tend to compare themselves and their poverty and their lack of from other people that's in their vicinity. They don't tend to compare themselves to other people that also live on this same earth, that also might experience the same struggles. So when you're comparing your poverty, let's say in America, compare your poverty to other parts of the world. It's crazy because here in America, somebody that's in poverty or poor or in the low income threshold, they have somewhere to live most of the time. They have a home. Some of them have vehicles. They have cell phones. They get government subsidized assistance like food stamps and Section 8 and housing assistance. See, those things don't exist in other parts of the world. So a poor American in America today, what he's saying is that they're materialistically way more off, not only compared to their ancestors that came here and lived here before them, but also to other parts of the world. We have to expand our thinking, not only to see things from the lens of our proximity, but to look at it from a bigger scale of other people that live on this earth as much as we do. I think that's fair. I think that's 100% fair.
The kids who grew up in that same place where I lived, they will not get that same education. Now that can be blamed on somebody, but it has very little to do with what happened 100 or 200 years ago.
Facts. Now, I hate to stop it because he makes so many great points here. You also have to look at immigrants. You have to look at immigrants. If it's the systems or, your skin color that prevents you from succeeding, well, why do immigrants have an easier chance of succeeding, right? Let's not include like Asians in this picture. Let's talk about Africans. Let's talk about Africans who actually share the same skin color as FBAs or Black Americans. It's the same thing. Why is it that immigrants, we come into this country and we're way more off than most Black Americans that live here, that grew up here, that are from here, that speak this language? Most of us, when we came here, we didn't even know how to speak the language properly. We had to learn this. I didn't speak English like I'm speaking now when I first got here. This was something I had to learn. See, but these things don't hold us back for some reason. And it's due to culture. Most immigrants, especially African immigrants, we have different values. We value education. That is one of the most important things that is instilled in us. That's one of the biggest reasons that our families and our parents and our ancestors decided to migrate over here is for better standard of education. So that's one of the things that we take very, very seriously and is taught to us at a very young age to take seriously is education, which is the complete opposite in the black culture, right? We are taught to respect the law. We are taught to respect the nuclear family. It is frowned upon to have children out of wedlock. I have a child out of wedlock, and it's something that is just not something that we preach. In the black culture, being a single baby mama is celebrated. We don't celebrate that. We don't celebrate that. So it's a lot of cultural differences. It's not about skin color, but about a way of life. That's the problem. It's the choices that people tend to make. But let's keep going.
And it's true in other countries. I mean, in Nigeria, for example, there's a tribe, the Igbos, who are living in one of the least fertile parts of Nigeria, who were in fact enslaved in centuries past by other tribes and so on. When the British moved in and set up schools, the Igbos went for the schools. By the time Nigeria became independent, the Igbos had climbed above the other groups that had been ahead of them to begin with.
That's exactly why in America today, immigrants are on top of this socioeconomic standard, even above, higher than white Americans. It's Asian Americans, Indian Americans, African Americans up there as the top 5, the top 3 are highest earners, way above some white Americans. So why is that? Why is it that immigrants come into this country and they're not as oppressed as the people that live in this country, that are born in this country? It's something that I can't understand.
Cross currents of factors, the particular culture, or the particular geography. You run through the whole list of them.
You cite in Intellectuals and Race, you cite an observation by the intelligence expert, IQ scientist James Flynn, that just stopped me cold. After the Second World War, you've got large numbers of American troops remaining in Germany. For that matter, there's still several tens of thousands there today. And both black and white American soldiers had children with German women. And Flynn discovered that those children growing up in Germany showed no IQ differences at all. The black kids and the white kids, the same. Quoting Intellectuals and Race, Professor Flynn concluded that the reason was that the offspring of black soldiers in Germany, and now you're quoting Professor Flynn, grew up in a nation with no black subculture, close quote. Which means what? Which means they experienced exactly the same expectations. Is this
No, the expectations are external. The culture in which they grew up was not the culture in which black kids grew up in America.
Facts.
So they had...
There's no gangster rap.
Facts. There's no gangster rap, not only in Germany, but there's no gangster rap in any parts of any country in the world. There is no gangster rap. There's no gangster rap from where I came from. There's no gangster rap in the white culture, in Asian culture, in any other parts of the world. There is no degenerate music. There is not. But for some reason, in America today, it is highly celebrated to live the degenerate lifestyle that is perpetuated within rap music. They made it black culture when it's not. It's not black. I hate that. I hate that for the community, that black culture is associated with degeneracy. That's just not the case. That's not the case from the black people that I associate with, that I know, that I went to school with, that I grew up around. They're not degenerates. But for some reason, the mainstream has made it popular and associated degeneracy as being black or black stereotype. And it is one of the worst things to happen to the black community in America.
That was pervasively available in Germany.
So here's what I'm getting. There is something about black subculture in America today that holds African Americans themselves back.
Yes.
Facts.
In fact, I
don't understand how that's hard to comprehend. When you're pushing nothing but degeneracy and just uncivilized behavior, What do you expect to get? This is not rocket science. It's just human behavior. It's patterns.
I went into this in a previous book on which about black rednecks and white liberals, because that same subculture.
Let's talk about two of your books here. Go ahead.
Because that very same subculture held whites in the South back as well.
It will hold anybody
this,
back.
This mental testing in the First World War turned up, among other things, the fact that whites from various 4 or 5 southern states scored lower on the mental test than blacks from 4 or 5 northern states. And so it really was a question of the subculture that was there, which was a handicap to both.
All right. And so,
baffled.
whose job is it to say, wrong subculture, folks, you're harming yourselves?
Well, I would think in an ideal world that intellectuals might take on that task, but the world that we live in, I've noticed, is not ideal.
All right.
At all, because anybody that tends to call out this type of behavior is called a racist. It's called a sellout. They call Thomas Sowell a sellout. They call people like Clarence Thomas a sellout. They call people like Ben Carson a sellout. They call people like me and conservative commentators sellouts, Uncle Toms, coons. Anybody that is criticizing the black community, but not only criticizing, but also saying, hey, we should do this instead of that. And even giving solutions, not only giving solutions, but also telling you what the root cause of it is so you can go and fix it permanently. We're called sellouts. See, they don't call the actual group of people that are the degenerates sellouts. They don't call the black thugs and criminals and murderers and robbers and carjackers and killers the sellouts. They don't call those people the sellouts. The ones that are actually harming the black community are not the sellouts. It's the ones, people like us, that are speaking against this type of behavior that's called the sellouts. The ones that actually care. People like us are the ones that actually care. It's not the thugs, the rappers, the strippers, the degenerates, the criminals. They don't care about the black community. They're the ones that's taking opportunity away from the black community. If you realize the black neighborhoods that are impoverished are due to criminals and thugs. They run businesses away. They run safety. There is no safety in those neighborhoods. There is no economic opportunity in those neighborhoods. It's not because of us. It's not because of the white man. It's because of the degenerate blacks. These motherfuckers do not care about the community whatsoever. And we've been saying this for a very long time. And I'm sick and tired of it, quite frankly. I'm sick, and that's why I'll continue to make videos like this, is to point out the hypocrisy. The hypocrisy with the black community. Even some of the so-called educated blacks call people like me and other conservatives sellouts. Even the ones that can read and write and talk properly still can't think critically enough to realize their rhetoric is going against the actual solution here. They don't see it. They don't. The crazy thing is, it's not even the thugs and the criminals and the degenerates that are calling us the sellouts. It's some of these educated blacks. The so-called race hustlers, the race crusaders. They're the ones that call us the sellouts. It is mind-boggling. I can't even describe how nonsensical that is, man. It would never make sense to me. It would never make sense to me how you guys can label people like Thomas Sowell, Candace Owens, myself, all of these black conservatives as the sellouts when we're the ones that's actually preaching prosperity. But the race hustlers hate people like us because we're going in the exact opposite direction of what makes them their money. That's the problem. That's the reason that they keep on grifting like the way that they are. Because if they actually solved the problem, they would not have a career. Race hustling is a career. So if you actually fix the problem, you would not have a job. That's why they hate people like us. They hate prosperity for black people. I'm telling you this. Believe it. You heard it here. They don't care for black prosperity. They want you to fail so they can keep selling you your oppression. I'm so passionate about this because it makes me so angry. So angry how we get labeled the way that we do, man. It never makes sense to me. It never makes sense to me. And one of the biggest things that they say about me, and especially black immigrants, is, oh, you're not even from here. Oh, you're not even really black. Oh, you're not an FBA. Oh, you're... It's let's just keep going. It's crazy. It's so crazy to me.
What is to be done? Take a look at President Lyndon Johnson speaking at Howard University in 1965.
Oh, yes.
But freedom is not enough. You do not wipe away the scars of centuries by saying now, you are free to go where you want and do as you desire and choose the leaders you please. You do not take a person who for years has been hobbled by chains and liberate him, bringing up to the starting line of a race, and then say, you are free to compete with all the others, and still justly believe that you have been completely fair.
It's pathetic. It's not a question of, there's no you who has the control to be completely fair or completely unfair. I mean, the circumstances are, so someone once criticized the mental tests on grounds that the tests were unfair. And I think it was David Reisman who said, the tests are not unfair. Life is unfair, and the tests are measuring the results. But who has control of life? Who has control of the past? Who has control of the culture that people have in the present, which they've inherited from the past?
So Lyndon Johnson, in fact, although good liberal that he was, at least in regard, Lyndon Johnson had a complicated career and changed positions on issues many times, but good liberal though he was at that moment, he was in fact engaging in a breathtaking arrogance.
Facts. That's the problem with these white liberals, man. What he just said, what Lyndon Johnson just said, is what will perpetuate eternal victimhood. Because you can't answer his question. When does it become fair? Who controls fairness? And it will never become fair because, like he just said, the race started a long time ago. So in his eyes, for you to start the race the same place that the other folks started is inherently unfair. So how do you create that fair, equal playing field? You cannot. You either have to pull back the folks that have started the race or help the ones that are behind catch up to the other side. And you do that by selling them either a solution to the community that's behind, therefore saying, I'm the one that's going to be the only one that's going to be able to help you. You're always going to need my help because you started the race late. Because they can't justly hold back the folks that have started the race already. You can't do that. That's going to create even more chaos. So what you would do is say, hey, since you're behind and since I'm also part of the community that is ahead of you, therefore, I can afford to help you. Therefore, you can only catch up to them by the help of people like me and you and these liberals. Insanity. It is eternal victimhood. It perpetuates eternal, dependency on the so-called white liberal to achieve any type of success. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. But I don't want to make this video longer than it is. This I will link the full clip to Thomas Sowell interview in the description if you guys want to see the whole thing. But it is absolutely impactful to listen to this guy, read his books, and understand what he's saying because it is spot on. It is the best way to educate yourself and also get away from this victimhood mindset is by listening and reading people like Thomas Sewell. So anyway, like I said, I don't want to make this video longer than it is. I appreciate you guys being here watching with me. If you enjoy my content, please hit the like button down below. And if you want more, hit the subscribe button with the notification bell. I'll probably do a part 2 to this video here and continue on my my own opinions about it. So stay tuned. I'll bring part 2 either today or tomorrow. Let me know what you guys think. Hit the like button, of course, and the subscribe button with the notification bell so you get reminded every time I bring a brand new video. Thanks for being here, guys. Peace.